I am here today to celebrate this moment together with you, which I am so excited about. This has come such a long way, and I've been dreaming about this for so long. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for sharing this moment with me. It really means a lot. For everyone who doesn't know me, most of you obviously will know me, but for everyone who doesn't, I'm Lisa. Hi, and I'm equally excited to get to know you in the future and to spend time with you and to get to learn everything about you, basically. So let's dive in. I am obviously really aware, although we have a pandemic going on and we can't do that much, that you obviously could be doing a lot of other things right now. So I'm really appreciative about the fact that you chose to spend these moments right now with me and to chose to be together here with me and spend this moment with me instead of doing something else. So thank you for that. And before we really deeply dive in now, let me quickly say something in German. Mir ist bewusst, dass wir das natürlich heute hier auf Englisch machen, aber natürlich trotzdem einmal ein paar deutsche Worte. Es tut mir leid, dass wir das in diesem Kontext jetzt nicht anders machen können und jetzt aufs Englische zurückgreifen müssen. Es ist in diesem Konzept einfach einfacher für mich, weil auch internationale Leute zugucken. Ich wollte aber einmal ganz klar verdeutlichen, dass alles, was in Zukunft passieren wird, auf jeden Fall zweisprachig stattfinden wird. Bedeutet also, jegliche Kommunikation mit mir wird Englisch und Deutsch funktionieren und auch mein komplettes Unternehmen und alles, worum es hier heute geht, wird natürlich auf Deutsch und auf Englisch möglich sein. Nur um das einmal klar zu machen. And just quickly switching back to English, so I was quickly just explaining that, of course, my entire business is going to be bilingual, so we can communicate in German and in English, of course, and my entire business operations will be also possible in both languages. I have been so mysterious about this in these past months, basically. Everyone who knows me close knows I left my job last year, which is really exciting for me and which I have dreamt about for so many years. With some of you, I already kind of like played the guessing game and kept asking you, so what do you actually think what I'm up to? What do you think? Why did I quit my job? What am I actually doing now? And a lot of people actually thought, because I have a background in marketing and I have been working within that field these past years, that I would actually found my own marketing agency. Well, this is not the case. So let's talk about what is the case here. A lot of people actually don't know that I hold a master's degree in business psychology. And within those studies, I actually had a lot of courses in clinical psychology as well, which I'm so passionate about. And the entire field of psychology had always some certain fascination on me. And so I always kind of wanted to do something with that. But honestly, when I finished high school, my grades just weren't good enough. So I couldn't quite, in Germany with the strict restrictions, just study that. So I found another way. And little did I know, though, that this kind of like would lead me to a path where I'm getting to now. So within my studies, just to give you some background, I always basically had the option to, with additional training then, be able to attain a certain certification that would allow me to work with people within a therapeutic concept, basically, and within a therapeutic scope. So I kind of like always had that in the back of my mind and always as an option for when I retire, once I have worked, and then later in my years basically I'm going to retire, then maybe I can get this additional training and I can open up my own practice. So that was kind of like I had stored in the back of my mind as a later plan. Little did I know. So maybe to round this up, you know of these moments in life when you really deeply have an urge inside of you that really tells you and calls out to you and really tells you to do something, but maybe also at the same time you're not quite sure if you should right now act upon it right in this moment. And so you're kind of like waiting, patiently waiting for the moment when it's your time. So that's basically what was happening to me for years. And I patiently kept waiting for the moment when I was gonna know, okay, this is it now. And this moment happened to me end of 2018, beginning of 2019, which is so exciting. And I could literally really feel the shift inside of my body. I could really feel everything moving around me and everything basically coming together and finally making sense. So it's a really beautiful feeling, and everyone who has been experiencing this before knows how, like, what kind of feeling of pride comes up and how much reassurance that you actually stuck in the moment and got yourself to the moment where you needed to be, where you can then act. So that's the background story. So next thing I knew, I found myself on a plane to London last year, which was then still possible, of course, to actually finish my additional training. Because I figured, why wait until I retire if I could make my dreams reality right now? And so, with further ado, I can happily announce and happily show you and happily share with you that my business is actually going to be all about you, which is really exciting and which basically very well phrases the entire scope of what is going to be happening around me. So what I did in London was I attained certification in the areas of rapid transformational therapy and hypnotherapy, which is such an exciting field and which I'm obviously now going to be talking about even more to give you an understanding of what this is actually all about and what this basically describes. So, rapid transformational therapy, or short RTT, that's a bit easier to digest, right? Basically integrates the most efficient aspects of different fields and different tools and methods. These fields and tools all being in the area of neuroscientific findings, of therapeutic findings, of basically neuro-linguistic findings as well. So working with a lot of different fields and a lot of different very efficient tools. And because we have this integrative approach, that then enables us to look very, very deep at the core of an issue, which is really exciting because us as humans, we oftentimes just present ourselves with symptoms that we experience, but looking really, really deep at the core, what's actually going on in the subconscious is oftentimes overlooked. So this is something that is such an exciting field. And since I have gained my skills in that area, I've made extremely amazing results in that area and experienced amazing shifts with clients, but also within myself. So the thing is, and the problem is, why is this so important? The problem is, us as humans, we're basically running on an ancestry code. So that means we're still wired inside of us to follow certain needs. The thing is, since we're running on this ancestry code, we're basically following evolutionary purposes. So that means for us, what is our evolutionary purpose? Our evolutionary purpose is that we need to survive and that we need to recreate, to pass on our genetic code. So that's basically the only thing our evolutionary coding cares about. The problem though is our code doesn't care about if we're happy in the process. And that's a big, big problem. Because if our wired coding, our subconscious habit that's going on there is not watching out for us, who is watching out for us? And that should be us, but we're not consciously aware of that. So we really, really need to train ourselves to gain the skills to be able to manage this in a proper way and to really work with this in a proper way. Because otherwise we're just going to be driven and consumed by our coding, which is going to result into very toxic behavior. And so basically 95% of our lives are determined by the subconscious. So that means the entire day basically almost are driven by subconscious drives from your ancestry code, which you're not aware of, which result into very destructive behavior and very destructive beliefs. And so this is often the core of an issue that then results into. And so what I do with clients then is that I really look at the core, because the problem is our behavior is basically just the symptom of a thought that we're thinking in the moment. And so this is something where it all starts. So we're starting with a thought. This thought is then determining a feeling that we're creating, and this feeling is determining our behavior. So if we're not changing that, then it's really hard for us to really change our behavior and our patterns and our habits. So we really need to look at the thoughts and the images that we create in our mind. And it's amazing what you can find out there, because everything you think the issue is about is in most of the cases not the case. So how do we do that? How are we able to look at the subconscious? This is where the different areas and fields come in. So the subconscious, to really look deep at the core, we're looking into practices of hypnotherapy. So this is where the hypnotherapy part and my certification part in that area comes in. And with that, we can really easily put someone else or even yourself. By now, I can do that with myself as well, which is really exciting, in a very relaxed state. And with that, you're then able to look really deep at the core of an issue, because you're really able to dig deep and to look beyond the feelings and just really deeply dig into every little aspect and really find out what this underlying feeling and belief and this underlying thought is, so you can change the thought and can really sustainably change everything that's resulting from that. So a favorite quote in that regard, one of my most favorite quotes, goes, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." And this basically sums it up all. This basically catches it all in one phrase, because this is what it's all about. Until you really make the unconscious, everything that's happening unconsciously conscious, you will think that you have control, but you won't. And you'll just be driven on this ancestry code, and you won't even recognize it. So that's so dangerous. And that's what we're seeing in society every single day. So what kind of fields can this benefit? A lot of different fields. This can go from physical aspects. This can be that you're carrying symptoms of, let's say you're biting your nails a lot. That could be a symptom where an underlying core belief is behind that. So if you're trying to change the behavior just by changing the behavior, it's probably not going to be long lasting. The same goes for, let's say you have unexplained rashes on your skin, or let's say even deeper, you have unexplained infertility. So basically everything from a medical point of view is fine with you and with your body, and your doctor might have even told you that, but you still are kind of like experiencing this block. This can also go for performance issues. Let's say you have a lot of fear of speaking in public, or of course for mental issues, all about anxious behavior, depressive behavior, all of that. So it goes really deep. So something personal that really drives me are certain areas. One area that's really close to my heart is the work with children and with teenagers, because that's the age where you can really change something. That's the age oftentimes where this destructive behavior results from. So if you're really looking deep at that age, and children and young teenagers at that age are really suggestible, that means you can really closely work together with them. So that is so exciting and so beneficial, because the longer you wait, basically, the more a thought basically gets ingrained in your mind, and the harder it is to see and to change at a later point. Another aspect that is so close to my heart is the entire topic of emotional abuse. So that one goes for toxic relationships, which is not only partnerships, but also friendships and just toxic relationships in general within families. And I myself even have experienced situations where you would find yourself in this negative spiral, and it would just be really hard to escape that spiral. It would just be really hard to free yourself from that burden. So I know how hard it is to get yourself out of that situation. And so this is what motivates me so much, to help people to really move them out of that state, to really take them by the hand and to really get yourself out of that negative spiral, because I know how hard it is to get out of such a spiral, to get out of such a state. So this is what motivates me just so much, and where I just really empathetically can understand such a situation, and I'm just so motivated to help people to free themselves from that burden, basically. Another aspect, of course, which is also very close to my heart, is the entire aspect of anxious behavior. So I've experienced that on so many occasions in life, that I saw what an emotional burdening past can do to a person, and what kind of destructive behavior and self-sabotaging behavior that can result into. And honestly, every single time it breaks my heart. And I just so often kept thinking I wanted to do something to help that person see in themselves what I see in them. And so I hope with everything I'm doing here now, I can provide that, and that's what I can do, and that is how I can serve and how I can help and how I can do something good for the world and hopefully help a lot of people to free themselves from those states. Because one final rule always remains: running away is not the answer. Running away is just not the answer, because our mind is not going to help us with that. Our mind is not going to want to move us to something that's uncomfortable and unfamiliar. So here comes the ancestry code again, because the thing is, our mind doesn't care if we're happy, as we said. So our mind just wants us to survive. So let's say I'm in a destructive state. I want to stay there because that's familiar. That's what my mind knows. So for my mind, understanding, okay, we're going somewhere else that's unfamiliar, that's uncomfortable, and that equals danger for me. And that in evolutionary terms equals, well, danger of maybe not surviving. And so that's something where my mind is not going to want to move me towards to. So I actively have to tell my mind, and we actively have to work with our mind to really embed these thoughts, to command our mind to take us to a state that's beneficial to us. Because our mind rather lets us stick in a destructive state that's comfortable because it's known and that's familiar, instead of moving us away from that and actually bringing us happiness. So we really need to make sure that we really consciously pay attention to that and really consciously train ourselves the skills that we need to really, really move towards a fulfilling and happy future. So just sharing that with you within this scope. Of course, I could go so much deeper, but that would really not be possible within this scope. So of course, there's going to be so much more information on my website. So here you go. The address to get there is my name, but also in front of my name, the article THE, so the Lisa Zimmermann. So basically you can always remember whenever you're looking for me, don't just look for any Lisa Zimmermann, but for the Lisa Zimmermann. That's a kind of good mark that you can keep in your mind. So check it out, but before I lose you, of course, stay with me for a little second. Before I'm gonna let you go, it's going to get a little bit cheesy, of course, because of course I want to leave this with some final words of appreciation. And the first wave of appreciation goes out to my family, of course, to my grandparents and my aunt, who are always supporting me and who have taught me so much in life. Of course, a very special word of appreciation goes out to my brother, who's here with me, who's just standing over there. He's my rock. He's just my rock in life. We always keep saying we're twins, although we're not, because we are so similar when it comes to our feelings. So we're always very able to empathetically understand each other. And this has always been such a rock in my life. And of course, also a special word of appreciation goes out to my parents, which is kind of weird doing this in English now, but anyways. So mom and dad, you always taught me everything in life I needed. You taught me so many valuable life lessons, but amongst it all, you taught me to be a good person, and that is something I'm just always going to be cherishing. The second wave of appreciation goes out to everyone who has been in my life up to this point. You guys carried my soul. You guys helped me grow into the person I am today, and for that, I'm eternally grateful. And the third and final wave of appreciation goes out to everyone who is going to come into my life. I cannot wait to thrive on your level of inspiration, and I'm really, really excited about that. And so now, let's finish this off with some final cheers, of course. And this would be the moment where you normally get flowers. And guess what? A very dear friend actually sent me flowers. So let's bring it in the picture. Thank you so much. You know who you are. And since my brother is, of course, here, we're going to be cheersing to this special event here as well. So cheers to that. Let's bring it in the picture. Thank you so much for your help. Cheers, guys. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for sharing this moment with me. And from here on, check out the website, check out the landing page. If you've got any questions, you can reach me anywhere. And from here on, I'll be talking to you soon, I guess. And thank you so much for joining. Bye.